term so many times before, but I'm never clear about it, except for the fact that I know that NLP is very much language related. Language is a critical element in NLP. And it's intriguing to me because I do conversation coaching, and I realize that words have power. It can change behavior, it can change your mindset. Today we're very fortunate, I'm very fortunate to have you on the show so that you can clear up the air by explaining what NLP is all about. In layman terms, please, Dr. Harjit.
Sure, definitely. All right.
Every time I talk about NLP, I've always get this scientific explanation or, this formal explanation. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be great if you can help us understand it in layman terms.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good evening again to everyone, and hope you guys are going to enjoy the show. And and thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Shaikh, for having me today. Hope everybody's going to have a good time today. Wow, it sounds like a radio DJ, eh? Yeah. I got used to it after with the online version trainings and all that, Okay, guys. So without just to clarify what exactly is NLP, and then we go slowly deeper into the NLP world. And also I try to avoid all the semantics, the fierce jargons and all that. Let's keep it down to earth, as simple as possible. Right, okay. Let me just share with you my journey into the world of NLP. Would that be okay?
That's right.
Right, rather interesting because my profession, I started off, I was professionally educated as a finance guy. I'm a certified chartered accountant. So I did my accountancy and stuff like that and started working in the corporate line. The intriguing part of the corporate life was when I attended the Tony Robbins program. Now at that time, about 17 years ago, I was at the crossroad thinking, just like anybody who is about 30 plus years of age, still figuring out what to do with life. Should I take part A or part B or the middle part, or shall I do havoc in life? So I was at the juncture, and attending the Anthony Robbins program in Singapore is sort of like open up a lot of different aspects of the mindset. Yeah, there was a fireworks session. Yeah. One of the activity was the fireworks session. I'll tell you a bit later also how fireworks session or some of these extreme activities transform individuals. Because some people are also curious, hey, how does the modus operandi of the firework or the glass walking, how does it change people? We'll look at that aspect also. So what happened to me was I saw NLP in action, in practical. I didn't know what was NLP all about. I've never even heard of NLP when I attended Tony Robbins program. So during the program, I saw this guy, a huge guy on the stage, Tony Robbins, able to command the attention of 4,000 or 5,000 people. And I was like mesmerized. I say, wow, what is this guy doing? What is his techniques and how he's able to catch the attention? And you don't even feel like walking out of the auditorium from the indoor stadium, because it is so interesting. And here and there, he started mentioning about NLP stuff and all that. So I started researching about NLP. And voila, there opens up the whole Pandora's box. So I say, wow, this NLP is a bit deep than what I know it is. And I started looking at it, studying and all that. And I found it really jiving into what my passion was always. Because my passion, even though I was working in the finance division, I always love into observing people's behavior. Why are some people achievers? Why some people are, a bit lesser? And their reaction towards different situation. So after seeing NLP in action, then I decided I need to go deep into this. I need to find out, hey, where does the rabbit hole goes? How deep is the rabbit hole? So I started venturing and did my first NLP certification, and then went deeper into master certification, and that's it. Went further, and connected to NLP also is hypnosis. It's one of the branch of the mindset too. Maybe shortly later, if there's any question about hypnosis, we'll look at that also. All right. And I'm sure a lot of people are curious about hypnosis. See whether we can hypnotize online or not.
We'll be careful about looking at you, staring at you.
Yeah. I'm supposed to wear my dark glasses, try to. And
These are some of the myths and the mysteries and or the misunderstanding about NLP. You know, like all this seemingly mystical stuff. Yeah. So I hope we get the chance to clear it up.
Sure, sure, no problem. My pleasure today. And further my study, I went to the mastery and also took up a doctorate in metaphysical hypnotherapy. Whenever somebody hear the word metaphysical, the first thing they ask me, are you a ghost hunter? You know, the word metaphysics and all that. I said, no, I don't hunt for ghosts, but we do look at things beyond the physical manifestation. And no worries, we'll try to delve on that also, all right? Okay, so that's a quick overview about how I jumped into the world of NLP. Right, okay, now how do we see the NLP application in the corporate world? Now, whenever, for example, a corporate training, we look at leadership concept. Let me just take one angle of corporate training, let's say leadership. Leaders are told you need to have an empathic listening. Leaders are told you need to motivate subordinates. Leaders are told to engage with the subordinates. What else? Anything else that the leaders are told? Jacqueline? There are so many expectations of leaders, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. As well.
Sorry?
They were told to be a follower as well.
A follower as well, yeah.
Follower at the same time. Yeah.
And the more I read about leadership concept, I just say, I really pity the leaders. There's so much of expectations on them. All right. So NLP comes in terms of the how part, the methodology of how. So for example, when leaders are told you need to engage with the subordinates, right? You need to motivate the subordinates. NLP comes in with real techniques, not concept. NLP is not concept. NLP is actually an array of techniques, tools. It's just like a handyman, you know. He has got his bag. He has got all the different tools for different, what do you call this? Operation and the repairing works that needs to do. So NLP is such. Just imagine NLP is that different techniques for different situation, for different purpose. All right? And just to delve a little bit on the history of NLP also, the two gentlemen that actually so-called founded or coined NLP, I'm sure you read about it, is Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Okay, but I wouldn't say NLP only existed about 15, 20 years ago. NLP existed as long as mankind existed. Because to be true, our spiritual teachers, prophets, whoever it is, when they were about to share the religious belief, you think they were just standing there like a statue and expect everybody to believe them? They need to engage, they need to persuade, they need to influence, isn't it? So they were using NLP even thousands of years ago. Only thing now we have make it a bit more systematic. So NLP is actually going to show how do we actually engage the techniques. So you will, when you go into NLP, you will be exposed to techniques, for example, the so-called famous matching, mirroring techniques. There are more techniques about connecting with people. And if you notice, you look at my hand, this is automatic. I cannot keep quiet. The hands are always moving here and there like the traffic policeman. Use of body language, right? So NLP is actually showing the how part of things. Because the leaders are now knowing, now with the internet, most people know what needs to be done. I need to do this. I need to be this. I need to motivate. I need to do that. But the big question is, how do I do that? How do I motivate people? What are the tools? What are the techniques that I can deploy on the people? That's where the NLP comes in, right? So when the leaders talk about, let's say, how do I want to motivate people? We have got techniques, for example, let me just throw some names of the techniques, reframing techniques, the anchoring points of individuals. For example, for me today, I'm still using an anchor because even trainers, we don't wake up in the morning. We are not like in the peak state every day, true or not? Yeah. We need something, a trigger, a switch to put us in a peak state. Now that is a scientific approach. Just like you have switches in your house for the lights, for the air conditioning and all that, we can create switches in you. Can you imagine that? When you actually invoke your switch, your mindset also change. So it's not a concept. I wouldn't say NLP is a concept. Yeah, sorry, Jacqueline.
Oh, wow, I mean that's amazing when you. Well, I mean, I'm very practical.
Yeah,
When I hear all this, and like that's really amazing when you have your own switch. You know, you can switch on and switch off.
that's right.
Yeah, based on what
Yeah.
you want to be having at
I
that.
give you an example from, yeah, this is quite an old movie. I don't know anybody remember it. The Gen X and the older guys, Stallone. Shaik, do you remember watching this movie? It's about arm wrestling.
I'm not sure. Was this climbing a mountain?
No, that's different. This is about arm wrestling movie. Sylvester Stallone is, he's wrestling with all these big size guys and all that. There's one scene of the movie where he needed to actually arm wrestle with another guy, a real tough guy, bigger muscle. And what Sylvester Stallone did at that time was he normally wears a cap. He turns the cap backwards. That turning of the cap for him is actually a switch to invoke his sort of like inner energy. Switches that we can put in ourselves.
We're going to go look for my cat now. He's in the car.
Exactly, yeah. So each of us, we can create our own switches. It can be a simple switch or anything, but there's a process of creating the switch. That is the most interesting part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I say, NLP is technology of the mind. The more we know the capabilities or the function of the mind, the more we can use it.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what, guys? The corporate world, especially the media, advertisement, knows about this. And this is how they use to influence people, to persuade people to actually sort of like buy the things.
Right.
So they have the element of NLP into their advertisement. If you notice, a lot of advertisement use coloring, use different strategies. So you might sort of feel like, wow, very interesting product. At the end, you may not know why you actually bought the product, but you were sort of like influenced. Yeah.
Yep.
So on this juncture, I would like to actually reiterate again. People have remarked that NLP is manipulative.
Manipulative, yes.
Manipulative. I totally agree with that. So the next thing I told them is that, what's wrong with being manipulative? Let's manipulate for positive purpose. So it's like a knife. The knife can be used to, like one of my articles I wrote in LinkedIn, the knife can be used to cut vegetables, but the knife can also be used to kill somebody. It's your intention that makes a difference. The tool itself is neutral. Yeah, Shaik.
If I may add, like you were pointing out earlier, NLP has been in existence since man started to talk, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Except that it didn't have a name. And then somebody, I guess Bandler was the first one who came along, and he defined the practices, the techniques.
That's right.
Now it's known as NLP. And yes, I agree with you. So that's why I'm saying that my understanding of NLP is that it's very much language related. And yes, I do manipulate my participants.
Yeah.
All trainers manipulate the participants through words and actions, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Whether they're conscious about using NLP. I mean, they are. I said that it's not used, I'm sorry, they don't have the terms for it.
Yeah.
It's just like me, I use empowering words to encourage my participants.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it falls under some NLP term as well when I do those techniques.
Definitely, yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of advantage that you can sort of like either provide or gain out of learning NLP. Now, what I like about it is it's pretty much practical.
Yeah.
You were saying it's not a concept, but it's really technology of the mind.
Exactly.
When it comes to technology of the mind, meaning you can learn.
Yeah.
You learn NLP by your own. I think you don't have to get to go to attend a specific
Program.
program.
Yeah. Okay, the only difference is that we can get the information about NLP, a lot of it, but the problem with NLP techniques, it needs to be demonstrated. So if I were to give you an article about how to create switches in you, you can read and all that, you try to deploy it, it will not be as effective if it were to be demonstrated live. That's the reason why NLP needs to be done through a real face-to-face session. Yeah. And and imagine if the techniques is actually done wrongly, you might even create a wrong switch. Exactly, because it's very, it's very, I call it very scientific. It's very systematic approach, and if it is done properly, it creates wonderful effect. But if it's not done properly, don't worry. It doesn't cause any damage, but it just won't be effective. That's all. So imagine now, coming back to the corporate world, leaders, probably you're going to have a subordinate coming to you for counseling. Imagine if you don't know how to build connection with the subordinates, you don't know how to build rapport, you don't know how to, and that's one interesting, there's one advanced technique of NLP called meta-model questioning. Yeah, meta-model questioning is actually a set of questions where you ask the counselee or the subject or anybody to the extent where it probes directly into the mindset, and don't be surprised, whatever issue that the person thought he has, through the questioning, you might even end up realizing there's no issue at all. That is the so-called magic that happens during the meta-model questioning.
Exactly, it works like magic.
Yeah. That is why one of the earliest book of NLP by Richard Bandler was The Structure of Magic. It's quite a deep book, very interesting read.
I'm going to find that book.
Yes, try to get it. You can get an e-version free on the internet. Yeah.
Okay.
It has got structure. In fact, the topic itself is very intriguing.
True.
Yeah.
I can never be thinking that magic has got structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps you could. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shai. Go ahead.
Okay. Perhaps you could share with us some of the or give us some illustration about switching. What do you mean? I know you talked about a hack, but how does this apply to an ordinary person?
Okay, great.
Does it help? How does it help with procrastination, for instance? That's a big one.
Right? Because we're talking about corporate environment, like procrastination in individual in the working in corporate environment, for example.
Yeah, for example. Okay, good. Glad you asked this and all that. Now you notice whenever we do corporate trainings and all that, it's sort of like a push factor. We are trying to push the information or the transfer of knowledge into the mouth of the participant. Hey, take it, all right? NLP is about sort of like the pull factor. For example, we want to mesmerize them and also get them interested into what we are trying to communicate to them. So that is one. Now, the other thing about NLP is that, for example, let's say we talk about the anchoring point. Like I mentioned, trainers, before you enter the training room, you yourself may not be in the peak state, correct? You might get up in the morning, you probably got some bad news somewhere or something happened to you along the way and you are really feeling down. You need to switch into the peak state, because can you imagine if you are not in the peak state, your participants will be able to read your body language and say, hey, this guy is not up to peak today. And if this guy is not up to peak today, I don't think so I'll be engaged with him today, all right? So, for example, my anchoring, which was done 16 years ago from the Tony Robbins program, just before the fire walk, we had to walk on the charcoal of fire. He asked us sort of like create your own movement, just a physical movement. So mine was sort of like this, like 3 times, 1, 2, 3, like the martial artists do. Now itself, when I'm doing it, I'm actually feeling the surge of energy. Because what happened, by doing this, my mindset immediately was wired towards that awesome activity that I did. It's just like, I don't know whether you remember, guys, the Pavlov experiment. Pavlov and the dog's experiment. Yeah, what he did was when he brought food to the dog, the saliva came out and then he rang the bell.
Yes.
Whenever he wanted to give food to the dog, saliva came out.
Yeah.
So now, in order to establish the anchor points, you have to run repeated patterns again. So the next time what he did was, he just rang the bell without the food, the dog start salivating.
Yes.
Because the anchor point has been created. All right? So that is just a simple explanation. And that's why one of my program is called Body Mind Wiring, BMW. How we actually wire the mind and the body. All this wiring can be done fantastically. It's like your computer. So when somebody want to ask me, hey guys, what is NLP all about? So, you know, in summary, what I tell them, it is the art of people hacking.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
exactly.
you could actually design your entire home.
I'm talking.
Sorry, Jack. Yeah.
No.
You could design your entire home or work environment, or business environment. Pretty much like the feng shui people. Yeah. But you put in all the NLP how-to techniques, and it could actually, you could actually get some results that you want.
Exactly. True.
And like you said, all these marketing people, advertising people, they know all this, right?
Yeah.
So that's why shops are designed a certain way. Like for instance, if you walk into a 7-Eleven, the placement of those products
Exactly.
are deliberate.
Yeah.
Because they. So what NLP technique would you use over there?
You mean
combination of things.
Yeah. Because you see, NLP is actually the study of human behavior. When these two gentlemen studied, they wanted to find a pattern or a template for successful people. So what they did was, they did a real study of successful people. They studied the way they communicated, the way they behave, the way they think, their thoughts, everything they studied, and they realized there's a template. So if anybody who is not successful were to follow the template, sort of leads towards success. That is the whole NLP model is all about. So it's a modeling success.
So that's exactly my question, because we would like to get some takeaway from tonight's session, as in like, okay, what are the things that I can straight away apply, modeling that I can apply when I'm experiencing certain challenges.
Yeah.
Or rather, I want to program myself into getting or achieving something. So perhaps some tips from you.
Yeah, sure. But again, depends. Sorry, Sheikh.
That one kena bayar lah, Jack.
Kena bayar. Tak apa. Hari ni free. FOC.
Hari ni free.
Okay. Just a simple one. Something that nearly everybody knows. For example, let's say building rapport with somebody. We probably have read about the matching and also the mirroring. But what is interesting about matching and mirroring, when you go deep into it, you realize one thing. When you match with somebody, you see the reason why we like somebody is because we find a commonality. When somebody is similar to you, we love that, true or not? Whether it's the way you sit or whether the way, the topic of conversation or the way we speak, the way we dress and all that. So for example, I and Shaik today, we have connection today. The matching is the blue t-shirt and also the hairstyle. Right?
Do you like me now?
Oh
yeah. But we also can connect with Jacqueline, even though we don't have the same hairstyle. We still can connect with Jacqueline just like that by finding a topic that Jacqueline is really interested in. Right? Okay, good. So now, let's go a bit deeper. Now, Jacqueline may be a person who is always against us. All right? Against. So we call this a mismatcher. Whenever you want to talk to her something, okay, just a role play a bit, Jacqueline. Whenever you want to, hey, Jacqueline, can you do this? Can you do that? Or Jacqueline, I have a certain idea, certain opinion about something. The first thing Jacqueline going to say is, no, I don't agree. I don't think so it'll work. Based on my years of experience, no, I don't think so it'll work. So she's called a mismatcher. So if you keep on deploying the same style of rapport building, it will not work. So you know what's going to do? There's also a technique of that. So we call it the matching with a mismatcher. So how do I match with a mismatcher? The first thing when I go to Jacqueline, I will say, Jacqueline, you might not agree with me, but I have this idea about how can we do live session more interestingly. You notice my opening of the line?
Yeah, you might not agree with me, and she doesn't agree with you often.
Exactly.
So,
So to prove me wrong, she's going to agree with me.
I'm going to be agreeing with you because you said that we are not going to
agree.
Yeah.
So she'll agree not to agree with you.
That's right. Because she's a mismatcher. She hates matching with people. So I'm probably going to say, Jacqueline, I know based on your years of experience, it may not go well with you about this idea, but then I have got something that I want to share with you. So when I started off that line, straight away in her mindset, she said, oh, let's see, how can I disagree with him? I'm going to agree with his opinion. I'm going to surprise him today. That's a very interesting technique which I deployed many, many times with wonderful effects.
Taking from that, right? I mean, even when I'm in that kind of role play just now, it's about aligning my aligning myself. I'm allowing myself to be aligned with that person so that I'll get buy-in from that person.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of like a meditative at the same time, but you mentioned that earlier. That's basically a technique, a skill that, for you to get one or for the benefits of the organization, for example.
Exactly, yeah. It is something like, let me give you another example. When I do hypnosis sessions, one of the most difficult people to be hypnotized are the technical people. Technical people, for example, finance people. We are not stereotyping today because this is reality. I'll tell you why. Finance, engineers, mathematician, IT guys, yes. You know why? Because when we want to do hypnosis or hypnotherapy, they overanalyze things because it's part of them, part of their nature to analyze things logically and all that. So, for example, when I say, okay, bro, we are going to count down from 10 to 1, and you are going to go into a deeper state of relaxation and all that, he's, rather than listening to my command, he's actually analyzing why 10 to 1, why not 10 to 5? Why not 20 to 3?
Yeah.
Why 10 to 1? Is this something special? They get engrossed into that analytics. Or maybe if I say visualize a blue color, that guy is going to start thinking, why blue? Why not green? Why not purple? But the best part is we also have a strategy for that, for technical people. Yeah. So we use different techniques for different people. It's all about the mindset again.
So what does
can I just, sorry.
What does it as in aligning them, or rather, if you have this that particular session with this group of people, why we want them to stop analyzing, or what is the end result of that kind of session?
Oh, no. We don't change their natural behavior. Let them analyze.
Yeah.
Because the other strategy I'm going to talk about is the more they're going to analyze, the more beneficial going to be. So in that, let me just illustrate to you also. For example, if I'm trying to hypnotize a technical person, so we have this technique called ambiguity. Ambiguity means what? General. Yeah, neither this, neither that. Technical people hates that. So during the hypnosis, it's all about communication again, the choice of word that you use to put somebody into trance. The language of ambiguity comes in, and after a while, they sort of go into a different mindset because they cannot take the ambiguity. It's exactly just like you are driving. Let's say you are driving to Penang. From KL to Penang, are you 100% conscious?
No.
No way, you cannot be 100% conscious. 100% conscious means every signboard, every number plate of the car that cuts you, you are actually aware of everything. By the time you reach Ipoh, you're already sort of like in a limbo. That's called trance state. All right. That's why we can hypnotize you and get your ATM password and all that. Just kidding. Yeah. All right. So we want to put them in a relaxed state. And how do they go into the relaxed state is by frustrating their technical mind.
Get them tired. Get them
Yes.
exhausted.
Exactly. So
Forget about it. I'm gonna follow you.
correct. So the more they analyze your instruction, the more they look at logical aspect. They cannot find any logical aspect. The mind gets tired. When the mind gets tired, it goes into the beta level, and also so-called, sorry, I'm using semantics again. It goes into a more relaxed state.
Now, coming back to personal application of NLP, can I do that on myself?
Okay, no problem at all.
So meaning learning NLP,
Yeah.
I can use the technique to sort of hypnotize myself.
Yeah. Put hypnosis aside, just NLP alone, you can actually deploy the techniques on you. It's actually all about yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah. And let me give you one more surprising thing about hypnosis. All hypnosis are self-hypnosis.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I thought
Explain, please.
show you that.
Okay, great. Because the hypnotist who is actually talking to the subject is only a moderator. He's only a moderator of the process. What happens is, that's why hypnosis cannot be forced into somebody. I cannot say, Shaikh, I'm going to put you into a trance now, and so that we can take care of your stress and all that. But if Shaikh is not interested to take care of, because maybe he loves stress, he said, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I need to get an agreement first that, Shaikh, is it okay if I put you into a deep relaxed state so that we can take care of some of your mind programming or whatever they want to do. Okay. So the person who actually goes deeper into the relaxed state is actually you yourself. You enable it. The hypnotist is just the moderator of the process.
To enable that, you need to learn the technique.
The technique and the choice of words. If you use the wrong words, you do not put people into the trance state.
Or you cannot put yourself in the trance state.
Yeah, you cannot put a subject into the trance state. So when I did my doctorate in the metaphysical hypnotherapy, I had to devise my own script. That was part of the Viva, the testing, the final part. I had to write scripts, original scripts of putting people into trance. And then we had to demonstrate that with a panel.
Right. So
Yeah.
when it comes to how NLP is useful in corporate world and business, it's really about choice of languaging.
Languaging, the techniques of NLP.
Of NLP that they can use in their verbal, in their encounters, for example, with the client, their body language, and also their collaterals, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Because, for example, back to the corporate world just now, when we talk about leaders are required to motivate people, to engage with the people, to actually communicate, to do counseling, to do interview. For example, even interview. When leaders conduct interview, one of the benefits of NLP is you want to know whether the candidate is deceptive or not. I don't like to use the word lying, deceptive, because sometimes some people may not be 100% honest. So you just want to, but again, guys, do not be judgmental. We just want to get the indicators that, hey, is the person in front of me is honest or not? Yeah. So these are some of the direct benefit of it. Yeah. Sorry, Shah.
All right.
I just wanted to say, sorry, Jan, we have a guest who's asking about who's asking a question. Yeah.
I'd like to address on that question from our
Sure.
viewer. Thank you so much for asking this question. The difference between law of attraction and NLP, please.
Okay. Actually, there's no difference at all. The law of attraction is part of NLP. Now, what is law of attraction? Law of attraction is actually going deeper into, you see, NLP is also about the mindset. We study about the functions of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. Like now we are interacting with each other, we are using the conscious mind. But your values, your phobia, your belief system, your files are stored in the subconscious mind. Now, law of attraction is actually about, if let's say you want to become a millionaire, normally people say, hey, that is difficult to be achieved. But law of attraction says it's very possible. It's actually a law of universe. Law of attraction is as real as law of gravity. It's actually a real metaphysical law. So when you want to achieve success, you want to become a millionaire, you need to go into a certain mindset. That's how NLP helps you. And once you go into that mindset, you start attracting things that are going to make you become a millionaire. But let me give you a caution again. Law of attraction is neutral. Law of attraction is going to make you fulfill your promises, but at a certain price. Example, if you're going to become a millionaire today or multi-billionaire, you might have to disassociate with your current friends and start associating with business circle.
Yep.
True?
Yes.
You might have to spend more time with networking with people out there, attending meetings, rather than spending time with your family, because sitting at home will not make you a billionaire.
So meaning you need to be deliberate in your action.
Exactly.
For you to achieve. So it's really around you understand what you want and
Yeah.
how you're going to go about achieving what you
Correct.
want. At the same time, also that set of belief or thinking, it has to be aligned along the way for you to achieve what you want. Am I right to say that?
Yes, and also you start believing, that means it's a mindset matter again, believing that, hey, I'm on the way to become a billionaire. So the way you communicate, the way you dress up, the way you carry yourself, the way you probably handle meetings with people, all going to be in the style of a billionaire.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how law of attraction comes in. But the question is, will you be able to handle once you achieve that success?
Meaning? What's that meaning?
Because law of attraction is going to give you what you wish for. Will you be able to handle wealth? We have seen so many cases of celebrities, people who are super rich. Why do they commit suicide? If wealth is the ultimate motivator, if money is the ultimate motivator, why do people still commit suicide? So it is proven time and time again, it is not the ultimate motivator. So some people are not able to handle fame, success, wealth, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of it. It's not a different, totally a different realm and all that.
How can we be aware of that? Because naturally human beings, they want to be as rich as possible, but at the same time, if there's no awareness in that part of our life, then how can I be able to be aware of that?
Okay, good.
Really for the what I'm gonna be getting out of my law of attraction.
Right.
My attraction, for example.
Okay. You see, in your line of conversation just now, there's a very dangerous statement that you mentioned. People would like to become as rich as possible. That's where the danger lies. Right? I'll tell you why the danger is. Remember the story of Aladdin and the magic lamp?
Yeah.
Yep.
When Aladdin found the magic lamp, he rubbed the magic lamp and the genie came out, right? And the genie said, Master, you release me and all that, I grant you 3 wishes. So Aladdin, probably first the thing he said was, I want wealth. So the genie told Aladdin back, Master, I cannot understand what are you talking about because I'm not from your world. Please be more specific. So after that, he said, okay, genie, I want about 10 pots of gold or 10 pots of diamonds and all that. Boom, the genie brought those. Specific, right? Then second wish, Aladdin told the genie, I want a good health. I want to live very long. Again, the genie asked, Master, I don't understand what are you talking about good health because I don't have a body like you. Can you be more specific? So the Aladdin mentioned about, maybe he got some liver problem, kidney, blah, blah, and all that. Boom, the genie corrected it. And the third wish, normally people say, ask for another 3 wishes, right? So the third wish, maybe he said, I want a good spouse. So good spouse, maybe, be more specific. I want a wife that can cook tom yum or something and all that. Boom, that's the genie brought. So law of attraction want you to be a bit more specific. Because if you are not specific, your subconscious mind doesn't know how to fulfill it. The genie in that story is actually your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind works with Nike slogan, just do it. It doesn't process logic. Yes. Your conscious mind that we are using now to interact, that uses logic. And that is needed. It's created by God in us. Why? Number one, for safety reason. If you see danger in front of you, your logical mind going to process what? Fight or flight. So if you see a snake in front of you, run away. That's your logical mind processing. But your subconscious mind process totally different style. It doesn't process logic, reasoning. It just execute. So when you want to actually do incredible things in your life, we are more interested in your subconscious mind rather than the conscious mind, because conscious mind always wants to go into the comfort zone. The realm of your your conscious mind is comfort zone. It loves to be comfortable.
Right. So, yeah.
If I push myself to do something uncomfortable, means I am on the right track.
Wonderful. Now we are moving into the activity of glass walking and the fire walking. So now when you do something incredible, you are actually shocking your conscious mind. Your conscious mind has been telling you, with limiting belief. You heard about limiting belief, right? Your conscious mind has been telling you, Jacqueline, I don't think so. You are a good singer. Example, maybe you're a champion. Jacqueline, I don't think you are good in this. Jacqueline, I don't think you are good in that. Those are your limiting beliefs playing in your mind. But suddenly, one day, you do an incredible feat. Suddenly, you took part in Malaysian Idol and you won. Your conscious mind doesn't know how to process it. All your limiting belief is erased. So sometimes we need to do something incredible, but don't do anything dangerous, something incredible to actually bypass the conscious mind and put a new value in your subconscious mind.
Right. So can that be also tips where we can, because your next point is how NLP help individuals with life skill managing the new norm. And the ultimate skills that we can,
Yeah. You know, during the lockdown, we hear the most common problem. What do we hear? When people are locked down at home, what did they went through? Anxiety, stress, unknown, fear, all these negative words. It's all about the mindset. Anxiety is mindset, stress is mindset, unknown, fear of the unknown is mindset. What else? Any more things that people go through?
Yeah, they worry, they fight.
All this stuff. Exactly. So you notice it's all about the mindset, right? So the techniques that I mentioned about NLP, they're all about the mindset techniques again. So for example, if I had a lockdown, let's say I'm feeling stressed, there's one technique of NLP called reframing. Reframing means looking at the situation from a different perspective. So when I look at things from different perspective, immediately the stress is eliminated.
Could you give us an example?
Example was the one that I deployed personally. When I was locked down, the first 2-3 weeks, okay, fine, all right, holiday, man. After the third week, reality came in. When you look at the bank account, oh my goodness, that's reality, man. After the 4th week, 5th week, okay, is this going to go on or not? Fine. Then I started doing reframing. I said, look, rather than sitting down and just waiting and all that, let's look at this situation from a different perspective. What I could have done by being at home. You see, the action of people depends on the mindset that you go into. Because if you don't go into the mindset, let's say gardening, a simple thing. Some people say, oh, I started doing gardening and all that. You need to go into the gardening mindset. You need to be interested into gardening. Otherwise, you will not be passionate about gardening. You know, you'll be actually doing gardening with full of hatred. And all the plants also will die. So to go into the mindset, reframing goes in. So I was telling myself, I say, hey, okay, good. All the while, I wanted to actually get more information. I never had the time because busy with corporate training and all that. Now is the time, hey, I can actually upgrade my skills. So I started relearning and learning and all that. And that's reframing again. So well.
A conversation between your mind and yourself, self-control.
Exactly. So these are all within you yourself. Right? You see, our subconscious mind, it always looking for commands. Whatever you command it to do, it will do. Remember, I told you just go by the Nike slogan, just do it. So I want you to experiment. And those are attending our session today, I want you guys just experiment. I think some of you have done it before. Tonight, before you go to sleep, command yourself. Mention your name. So for example, if I want to command myself, I say, Harjit, wake up 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm sure some of you have done it before. Now, when I say command means not a plea, not a request. Don't say, Harjit, can you please wake up at 7 a.m.? No, that is a request. We want to command directly into the subconscious mind. Harjit, that means you are talking to yourself. Harjit, wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And I know what's going to happen. We have a biological inside of us. By 6:58 or 6:59, your eyes going to be open up.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Time you need to say that one time?
No. It depends on the frequency. How often do you want to wake up at 7?
No, I mean like before you go to sleep. You have to say, you have to command, you have to say that command how many times?
Up to you. If it is with so much of force, 1 or 2 times is enough.
You see,
Now I know for a fact. Sorry, Jack. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, now I know for a fact that my late grandmother was an NLP practitioner. Because when I was a kid, you know, we always get up late for school and stuff like that. And she gave us a tip. Okay. She says, well, she didn't say command yourself. She says, tell the pillow to wake you up. So we would go, bantal, bangunkan saya pukul 6. And we get up at 6.
Fantastic. Fantastic example. Yes. You see, the olden people, they probably have been told from generation to generation about this technique. Only thing they didn't know what to call it. Because it is working. These are real techniques. You know, sometimes.
So what technique is in NLP? That technique, what is it called?
So that's called anchoring.
That's called anchoring. Okay.
Anchoring.
So we should have called it bantal technique.
Bantal technique. Atau bantal anchoring.
Because the technique is there. It's just people like Dr. Bandler studied it and they gave it a name.
Exactly.
I want to ask you a question about the subconscious mind. Because Jeff was asking, how do we know? Well, you were relating it to how to be a millionaire, for instance, right? And then you spoke about the subconscious mind, and then Jack was asking, how do we know what we don't know? So I call it a blind spot. How do we know what a blind spot is? So, like for instance, you can get some people who are working very hard, but and getting rich, but they're not getting rich. So what's the blind spot? And it occurred to me about what you said very early in the program, where you said something about modeling the successful people. Yeah. Right? So all you can do is, instead of trying to figure out what's your blind spot, you just look at what a successful person does and just copy what they do. Yeah, true. Because that's probably your blind spot. Correct. Now, the blind spot that we are talking about here is probably the technique of them putting in writing, putting in writing about what they wanted to achieve. Let's say you want to become a millionaire. Now, you guys all heard about this, let's say, you know, the SMART methodology, SMART. Be specific. Yeah. It's like writing a resolution. Right. Coming back to the Aladdin and the genie story again. Be specific, be measurable, achievable, realistic, and what? Time-based, the T. But NLP is going to take it deeper. NLP is going to introduce you to smarter methodology. Not many have heard this. The E part of the smarter, the E is, are you excited about your dreams or not? Goals. Because don't be surprised, most of the people have goals, but it is not their goals. Somebody imposed the goals on them. You want to lose weight, 10 kg. Why? Because my spouse told me to lose 10 kg, not because I'm excited about it. So you are going to self-sabotage that particular dream, that particular goals. And the R, the last part of the R, what is the reward for you? Once you have attained it, how are you going to be satisfied? You need to identify what is the reward. So if I lose the 10 kg, what's the reward to me? You must visualize it. I'll be able to fit into my dream pants. What else? I'll be able to flaunt myself at the beach. Wow. Okay. So the blind spot, to remove the blind spot is being clear about your goals. Wow, nice, huh? Removing the blind spot is being clear about your goals through the smarter methodology. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. But here's where I find the challenge is, right? Because all of us basically live our lives based on our habits.
Right.
Let's say you got someone. Let's say me. I want to be a millionaire.
Right.
And I define my smarter.
Right.
But I have a certain habit. Like for instance, okay, my reward is I can travel around the world. And okay, I get excited. But guess what? I'm still doing the same things I do every day.
Okay.
So how do I change those things?
Fantastic. I'm glad you brought up that question also. So the habits that you mentioned is pattern. Now, all of us have got a certain pattern in our life. Pattern of talking, pattern of doing things, pattern of everything that you can name off. All right. You repeat the pattern, you get the same results, right? So in NLP, there's a technique called pattern interrupt. You interrupt your pattern. When you interrupt your pattern, but first thing is you must be aware of your pattern first.
Yeah, this is what I mean by blind spot. So if you're not aware of it. Yeah.
Correct. So before you start writing down, I want to become a millionaire and all that, so sorry to say, you have to do your SWOT analysis, your strength, your weakness, what exactly you're doing and all that. That actually identifies your blind spot. So once you realize that, hey, I need to do certain things, I need to change my pattern. So when you interrupt your pattern, the outcome becomes different. It is same like, let me just to make our audience understand better. You know, when you see a stray dog on the road, what do you do when the dog is barking at you? Either, if ladies, you run away, right? Now, animals are expert in body language. Animals are more expert in body language than humans. They look only macam bodoh-bodoh and all that, you know. But they are looking at you, every single inch of you. The moment your body moves away from them, they know this guy is my victim today. Right? So normally what guys do is you pretend like picking up a stone. Now that's called pattern interrupt. Because in the dog's mind, when I bark at this guy, he's supposed to be afraid, but he's not afraid now. He's interrupt. When you pick up the stone, you're interrupting his pattern. Now you notice the dog behavior change after that?
Yeah.
That is pattern interrupt.
See, that's why I said my grandma was an NLP practitioner, because she told us the same thing about ghosts. If you feel there's a ghost, instead of being scared, you gotta challenge the ghost. There's a pattern of the ghost, right?
But don't challenge too much until you become possessed and all that.
Okay. I'm intrigued by this pattern interrupt because I think a lot of us are prisoners of our habits.
True.
Right? So going back to that wanting to be a millionaire guy, right? So I know my smarter is. But guess what? I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I watch a YouTube video, and then I go to work, and then I come home, and then when I get home, I'm tired. I'm watching videos again, and then I go to sleep. And then I read, well, before I go to sleep, I read my smarter goals.
Okay.
Guess what? 3 years later, I'm still doing the same thing.
Same thing,
so
yes.
I need to recognize what my pattern is.
Yep.
So what I'm asking you is, how can I recognize that? How can I know that this pattern is not working? Or rather, how do I know what pattern to pick up or to develop?
Okay.
Do I copy a millionaire?
No, you notice the sequence of the action that you just mentioned to me. You go to Facebook and check this and all that. Your course of action in one day is a pattern itself.
Yes.
Alter that pattern.
I think pattern can be something that you are comfortable of doing. Not only comfortable, but it's like automatically you are doing that without even thinking.
Yes, that's right. So your pattern leads to a certain result.
Correct.
So 5 years later, I'm still as broke as I am, or still the same situation as I am now, although I have all my goals, because my pattern hasn't changed. So what I'm thinking is, especially now with the internet, I can just follow a few rich people, see what their patterns are, and chances are not the same as mine. They probably get up at 4 in the morning and start going through some, productive activities, and I need to develop a pattern. Yeah. Would that be a right way to do it?
But be careful again, it must suit your lifestyle, because for them, maybe it's practical to wake up at 4 a.m., but may not be feasible for you. So the pattern must be matched. Yeah, exactly. But the most important thing is you need to interrupt whatever pattern that you're doing now. Whether even the food that you're eating, you need to interrupt. Don't be surprised.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it.
I do have questions also before Omar asked about the pattern.
Yep.
Around logic, because
Right.
you mentioned about, okay, again coming back from what Omar mentioned earlier around, you know, your daily pattern, as in you go to bed and commanding yourself to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, for example.
Yeah.
I do have, like, I can totally relate to this when it comes to belief around it. How do I have the conviction around whether this practice of mine really can be impactful?
Producer.
Will that interrupt the effectiveness of my practice in you know, in this NLP kind of way?
Yeah. So again, guys, we need to be flexible again. Don't expect that only one style or one pattern interrupt is going to lead immediately to success. So we keep on experimenting. This pattern doesn't work. Then I try with another pattern, and all that. So it's all about being agile again. You know, we heard about this concept, being agility. So we need to become like the bamboo tree, you know? Yeah. So don't stick to one technique alone. Keep on changing. It's just like people. You need to deploy different technique with different people.
Exactly. So you need to attend Dr. Harjit's session on you have this reservoir of techniques where you can apply and experiment.
Yeah.
Then you can decide which one is the best for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can I just share one more real life story about how the NLP came into really beneficial in this particular therapy work? This happened a couple of years ago. I had this person coming to me. She was feeling demotivated in life. And she said, I don't think I can become successful, blah, blah, all that usual stuff, you know. So by using meta model questioning, I was actually probing her into finding out what's the real cause of her not achieving success. Now, I myself got surprised on that day. You know why? I'm also a practitioner of micro expression. Micro expression means it's advanced body language, your tiny expression on your faces. All right? Everybody display micro expressions. So it's just whether of figuring out what micro expressions are they showing at the moment. Like even Shaikh is also showing micro expression now. Jacqueline, you're also showing micro expression. Okay. So when I was doing sort of the counseling with her, I realized one thing, that she herself didn't want to become successful. She herself didn't want to become successful. She herself was sabotaging her own success. And how did I discover that? Because when I was having a conversation with her, the moment we talked about her failures, a micro expression showed on the face, which is sort of like a smile. You see the importance of body language and also micro expression now is part of NLP. Whenever I was talking about failure, whenever I talking about she didn't achieve her goals, a slight smile came in. And I started wondering, why is she happy about her failures? Started probing deeper and all that, and I discovered that she was looking forward to be a failure because that is the way she becomes significant.
Yeah, attention.
Attention, exactly.
Without her realizing that.
Without her realizing. She was actually loving, because whenever she became successful, she got less attention, especially from the family. The moment she became a failure, and the family started giving her more attention, you know, pacifying her, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, you went through this, blah, blah, you know. She feels significant. That motivated her. So she went into that pattern, the pattern of small failures, and eventually that leads to, of course, a big failure. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And
so this is what I meant by the blind spot, because she's not aware of it.
Exactly.
So this is where someone like you comes into the picture to be able to help her out, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Like it requires someone who is expert in this.
Trained,
yeah. True. Yeah. Sometimes we just want a second person or third person just to show us the complete picture, you know, about what's happening and all that. Yeah.
Dr. Harjit, because the time is, we don't have much time. In fact,
Yeah.
at 1 hour now, but do you have any programs soon if someone would like to attend your program, for example?
There is actually an upcoming NLP certification program for those who want to be certified as an NLP practitioner. And also, don't just attend the program to be called a certified practitioner. Go and attend the program to actually, and be hungry like a sponge. I want to get as many techniques I can deploy in my social life, in my, working life and all that. Go with that mindset and you'll be surprised how we can actually enrich ourselves. I always discourage people. The first thing I tell them, I say, why are you attending this program? If the moment they say, I want to get more certified, I say, can you try to find out more reasons why you want to attend? Get enrichment. Because a person who is going to look for enrichment in their life, you can see them is going to be like, wow, in the program, they're going to be like a sponge. Shaikh, like a training programs. When you ask somebody, how many of y'all has been sent to attend this program? Compared to how many volunteered to attend this program, you can see the vast difference.
Yes. Okay, so when is your next program?
It's the NLP certification program, which is coming up in October. You can probably check out in our website, the Quantum website. It is www.quantumintl.net. We're actually going to update, because there were some changes in the dates and all that. We'll update the dates and also the brochures. And please feel free to connect with me. I'm quite active on LinkedIn too. All right. And we can get more information from there onwards.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
It was truly a pleasure being with you guys today. Truly honored. I wish I had 3-4 hours, to.
Well, that's where the program comes in.
And
Yeah.
also acknowledge Dr. Harjit because he actually approached us. We were strangers, right? He texted me on a private message on Facebook.
That's right.
And this is exactly that I would like to say now to our audience. If you do have something to share, do reach out. We can schedule your slot so that we all can add value to each other. Yeah. So Omar.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think the way you described it is so practical. I really enjoyed you talking, starting off as saying that NLP is an array of techniques. All right, it's techniques on how to do or how to execute solutions. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Correct.
Because usually when I talk to NLP practitioners, they go right into all the models and stuff like that. And yeah, I can see how useful this can be because it's more structured. So you kind of know how to pick and choose. It's like reading a menu, and off that menu, you've got so many items, right?
Yes, exactly.
Reframing, anchoring, so you kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's excellent, yes.
Yeah.
Just one more question before we go.
Yeah,
I couldn't help thinking about, I'm sure you've heard the term mentalist.
Okay.
A person who can read you.
So you're not talking about the series, the TV series, right?
Well, yeah, the series is in reference to someone who's a mentalist.
Okay.
So there is one particular mentalist. I think he's an Israeli mentalist. He goes on shows and he's pretty good. So what he does is he has conversations with people.
Right.
And then I guess he's able to read. Now that I know the term, micro expressions. And from the micro expressions, he can actually tell what your ATM password is, for instance. Right. So I guess that makes more sense now. I suppose if you develop that skill.
Yeah.
Right. So for instance, he will say, all right, your first digit, is it between 1, 2, 3? And then he looks at your face, right? And then he goes on and on and on. And then he goes, okay, the first digit is number 8. Yeah. And the guy, so I guess that's how they do it.
Exactly.
This is Omar's favorite topic. 1 hour is not enough for Omar.
Yes. Omar, let me just add on very quickly. It's actually the same reason why the so-called expert in body language or even master NLP are banned from going to casinos to play poker. Because poker is a bluff. You read the body language.
All right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And in fact, a lot of our viewers here, thank you, Dr. Harjit, Also, a few of I've learned something new today. Some of them said that. Thanks. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we look forward to for our next meetup, face to face.
Wonderful. We'll have the teh tarik session soon.
Study session, yeah.
Okay,
So,
wonderful.
audience, we will have the next episode. We'll announce in the next few days. Yeah, we do have next Saturday. We'll have the Point of View series X the social enterprise group from
Sabah Social.
Sabah Social Entrepreneurs Network. That shows I've not been doing for quite some time. Already.
Yeah.
XSSEN. We'll have a social entrepreneur from Sabah, from rural Sabah, to share about her experience in social enterprise in Sabah. All right. So that's all for tonight. So I'll see you again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Good night.
Live.
Okay, we're off live. Yeah, we're off live. Yeah. Oops, he disappeared. It's okay. Tak apalah. So we use all these things in our training anyway. But I remember asking. Oh, we're still recording. Jack, we're still recording.
No. Oh.